Hey, Steve, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
So I am probably, I tell you now, Guy, going to repeat myself somewhat in this podcast because he's our third pistol, isn't he?
Is it? Yeah. Oh my God, that's pretty good.
Because we've had Glen, and I mean, obviously, we haven't had Johnny yet.
Yeah.
I think there was a chance of having Johnny.
We were offered Johnny, to be honest, but then
he started ranting about something, and
Oh, he did come on?
no, he didn't. No.
I was ranting just for ranting's sake.
He was doing one of his rants, and it was on the morning that we were getting him on. We just thought it's easier.
Well, hopefully you will.
Well,
You'll have all four.
Are you
then.
still talking?
Not really. No, I haven't spoke to him in years. 2008 was the last time I spoke to him. We did 30 shows around Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008. We did a bunch of festivals and all that. Japan, Australia. We ended up at Hammersmith Odeon, Hammersmith Apollo, and then we had one more show in the Basque country, and that was it. I was done after that. I'm no more. It's too much.
Was it?
Too old, too much, not enough done.
But you're doing it again. I went to see you.
No, but this is different.
this is so different.
It's a different vibe, mate. It's night and day.
I mean, I loved it.
You were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
I came Bush Hall.
Are you at Bush Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was away for that, and then I came to.
It was just amazing, and yeah, and he's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He doesn't try to be John.
No.
But what I was curious, I would like to have known if you was at the first show and then the last one. I think we got a lot better.
I was at the last one.
I think it got really good. Well, you didn't see the
No.
thingy one.
So we got no.
But I know,
very
I
extensive
know it's
notes.
a lot better.
In what way did it get better?
Just tight. He's more comfortable. You know, we only rehearsed for about a week prior to that.
I think Frank has got this unbelievable charisma on stage. I mean, his energy is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's playing to blokes probably 20 years older than him, but
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
You know,
He's 40.
He's he's crowd surfing on a sea of bald heads a lot of the time. He is amazing, and I just loved it. And when he did the crowd jump off of the balcony,
know.
I mean, that was
Okay, to be fair, that's probably where it got better because he wasn't doing that at the Bush Hall.
Well, there was no place to do jump off a stairwell.
No, true, but he could have jumped into the audience.
Well, he did.
I didn't really. Okay, which no, not the same.
Maybe it was a different night.
Yeah.
He loves it.
maybe you were the bald head he landed on. You missed it.
He loves jumping in there. He's upset if he doesn't. It's like his thing.
Oh, right.
But it's his body language. His body language is so right. I mean, he's not trying to impersonate John in any way.
No.
I mean, John had a completely different style when he first came
Yeah.
around and hit. You know, he was like this Uriah Heep type character and snarly but Frank is much more open and powerful, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it's because I thought Cookie put it because I saw Cookie afterwards and he said that's the one job that is a young man's game.
For sure.
The rest of you are kind of
It's still a young man's game doing what
Yeah.
the three of us are doing. I'm like knackered after an hour and 10 minutes.
No, but I think there's a thing that comes with age with some of that stuff, which is just authority. You know, the way you lay it down is there's something that's really commanding. Do you know what I mean? More than when you're
Going to get a lot of
spunky
smoke
youth.
blown up your ass today.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
I brought my wipes. It's okay.
But Guy does stand by something where he thinks you and have the. Go on.
This is the hill that I will die on, is that you and Mick Ralphs are the absolute definition of the English rock guitar sound, the Les Paul Marshall. You two, no one has ever done it better.
Wow, Mick Ralph's, okay.
Which is funny because you started with the Fender Twin as well. But
Well, and you
Yeah.
were a big Mott the Hoople guy.
Oh,
weren't
yeah.
you? Yeah.
And Bad Company.
Yeah.
You know, I like the first couple of Bad Company albums. Great.
But it was a funny night for me because I got in a cab to go, and this bloke sitting in the front, he was my age, but you could see he looked a little bit.
Were you upstairs or downstairs?
I was upstairs.
Yeah.
He looked a bit rock and roll, this guy, and he said, "I saw you years ago. Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to see the Pistols." "Oh, fantastic! I saw you guys years ago." I said, "Where'd you see us?" And he said, "I saw you as the Gentry in a pub." He means like before Spandau Ballet.
Yeah.
So I'm already back in the 70s. That's
Yeah.
where I am.
Yeah.
And then I get to this gig, and this guy said, "I saw you at rehearsals at Halligan's in 1978. So for some reason, I felt like I'd been sucked down a wormhole, and I was about to see the Pistols.
Yeah.
And when you went on stage, and I saw the kind of the beer gets thrown immediately into that's backlit.
Yeah.
You go into that first, 'cause your guitar sound was amazing. And I was. If my wife had seen me, she may have divorced me at that point. You know, I mean, I sang every single lyric for every single song, and I tell you, Steve, best show I've seen in years.
Yeah. It's fun. It's just fun. You know what I mean? And it comes across as fun. Plus, we're playing it how it should be played, and you got this lunatic jumping around all over the place, and he brings a big element to the fun part of it. You know. We are going to go on the road next year.
Yeah, you'd be mad not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think so. Absolutely.
But it's good because from what you're saying, it kind of sounds like when you've been doing your reunions before, which it kind of wasn't necessarily fun. And it's
I
this,
couldn't wait for it to end.
Yeah.
After 2 songs, I'd be like, you know.
But there's something in this music where it kind of feels now, especially, that it should be fun. Because you were always, you know, because you're such a great section, the three of you.
Yeah.
You know? I always, you know, Cookie by far had the best pocket of any of the drummers
Yeah.
of those bands. You know, he sits back beautifully. Glen's a great, you know, so the idea of that, you know, like with The Who, you know, they're miserable, and that's fine, that works. But with you guys, it feels like it really needs to be fun now.
Absolutely. It's got to be fun for me at this stage of the game.
But how was it when in 90, was it 96?
That first reunion.
Filthy Lucre, how did that feel?
It started out all right. You know, we did 100 shows, though. And it started to become a drag in the end, like it always does.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that again at this stage.
100 shows?
Well, no, I could do 100 shows,
Yeah.
but it's got to be chill and good vibes.
Yeah.
I can't play a part of being Mr. Nice Guy just to keep the ball rolling, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand. And I think also getting Glen back was a nice.
Yeah,
must have been nice.
he's a great bass player. You know, well, he's always been there, Glen, when we did reunions.
Yeah.
You know, we did a thing last year with Billy Idol, Generation Sex, with Tony James on bass. That was all right.
Yeah, we had Tony on the show.
Yeah, but this is great. It's a lot of fun.
Because Tony was really like thrilled about that band.
Yeah.
I think he said it was ridiculous. He was 17. It was the first time suddenly he was flying in private jets to do concerts.
to do corporate gigs, though.
But
Yeah.
Would you-
Well, not really.
Oh, okay.
No, there was no
there was
corporate gigs.
Oh, I thought
I wouldn't have minded.
Jeans company. Yeah, yeah.
Better
Oh, no, I'm not
dosh.
saying- no, yeah.
Yeah.
it was festivals and stuff.
Yeah. A lot of
Because I
festivals.
love the idea of it.
Yeah, half Pistol songs, half Generation X, 2 Pistols, 2 Generation X guys. Yeah, it was fun, but that kind of I think we got the idea from that to this, like, why don't we just do all Pistol songs and with a different singer? Because it ain't going to happen with John.
So how did you find him?
It's a weird story. I think Glen's boy knew him, and we was thinking, who can we get to sing? And his name came into the pot. I'd never heard of Frank before that, to be honest with
No,
you.
I hadn't, but my son, who's in the music business,
Yeah.
he knew him, and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, he's fantastic."
No, he's got a following.
Well, I'd met his dad because he's big at Marshall, isn't he? Marshall Amps.
Oh, really?
No, his brother.
His brother. But I thought, oh, is that his brother?
He made them.
We need to cut
he,
this
he
out.
made them amps for me.
No, I thought there were 2 of them. I thought there was the dad and the brother were both. At
I don't
Marshall.
know. I only know that his brother's the one who put them amps together.
Right.
So how
I
did
thought
it?
you had orange amps on stage.
No, they were the same colours as the Nevermind the Bollocks
No,
album.
no. I mean, orange made. They looked like they were. I thought they were made by Orange.
No,
Oh, thank God for
never,
that.
never
Thank God
use
for that.
fucking orange.
Oh, well, yeah.
Kidding
Thank
me?
God.
Get out.
How dare you?
You know what to do.
Just press that button there. The chair will just go in. But so, what was it like then, getting Frank in the room? And was it? Did you have a meeting first? Did you sort of meet in the pub? Or what was?
Well, I was in LA and had a Zoom meeting with him just to chat. You know, saying blah blah blah. We like this, that, and the other, and it was all good. And I'm like, okay, let's see if it works or not. We don't know. You don't know if it's going to work, but it just did, and it was easy.
Did you fly over here?
Yeah, we rehearsed here.
And he'd already learned everything, and
It took him a little bit because he was always still doing his own shows at the time. But no, he's up to speed now. It's a
Gotcha.
big difference, 40 than almost 70. It's a big leap. You know, all your faculties work at 40 still. You still have sex appeal. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Now you're just some old trollop right now. No one even looks at you.
I'm going to be 65 tomorrow, Steve.
You look good.
You know what I mean? I remember 65, that's a pensioner, isn't it? I remember there was this bloke who lived downstairs to us when I was a kid. And my dad said he's going to be 65. He's retiring, that fella, next week. I said, really, Dad? Yeah. He goes, he'll be dead not long after that. It's what happens when people give up work. They get to 65 and they give up work and they die. And what happened was, I think about 2 weeks after he was 65 and retired, he lost a foot. Right? And that was really the beginning of the end. Because within a year, he was gone.
That's funny.
But it's funny you say it because, you know, I'm doing these shows with David Gilmour now, and yeah, I'm 62, and he's got this whole new band, and they're all like the 30s and stuff. And it's when I started playing with him, I was 25, and so I was the kind of the young hot guy in the band, and now I'm the old lag, and it's really funny looking at those guys. Go, God, you're me. You're who I was.
Yeah. Steve, let's talk about, because, I mean, I know you've told these stories a million times. Well, I've read them in your book, but that's what we're here for, really. And just where you grew up, and I mean, God, your book was, I mean, I found it really sad.
Yeah, there is definitely sad bits in it.
Unforgettable imagery of, you know, what you had to put up with abuse-wise when you were a kid.
Yeah. But, you know, if I'd have had a good parents, I probably wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Just while we're on that, what did you think of the TV?
Pistol?
Yeah.
Stop hitting that.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know, it's good.
The old pro with his arms folded. I know, but it looks defensive.
Does it? No.
No.
Shall I take my top off? 90%. I loved it. Pistol.
Yeah.
I thought it got a bit too quick to the Pistols. Could have spent a little more time of my upbringing, seeing it was supposed to be on my book, you know, based on my book. Yeah. But it's still good. It's still good. I thought some of the acting was great. The guy who played Malcolm was brilliant, and the guy who played John was good.
Yeah.
There was some good stuff.
Yeah, I loved it all. I didn't like Glen's casting.
That was unfair.
Yeah. No, Glen don't like it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fantastic, you know, and I think it was just, you know, it is a bit, what you did and what you created is a bit of social history. Yeah. And that story, that's not the last time that story will be told.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because it's still unique in every way, and what it influenced and how it, you know, created everything that went after it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's whatever we did in the 80s, whatever grunge did, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to even sound like the music you made. It just told people and showed people how you can be in a band and how you know, ideas of presenting yourself.
It was like a time capsule. I think they nailed time good in it. You know, the mid-70s, early 70s, mid-70s. I thought that was good. You know, there was a few stupid errors, like my guitar. I would have just gave them one of my guitars that looks like my guitar.
Right.
They had some like horrible fridge white Les Paul. It looked like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. Because I went over here when they were doing it. I was in LA. I didn't want to come over all that COVID lark, so I stayed in. I stayed in LA.
So, because that was Sylvain's guitar, wasn't it?
The original, yeah.
How did you? At what stage did you get his guitar?
Well, Malcolm had it, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he was managing the Dolls for 10 minutes. He had the Dolls all dressed up in red pattern leather, and I don't think it went down that well. And which I thought they looked great, the pictures I saw of it, but it all kind of fell apart real quick. And I think, well, he did. He brought the guitar back with him. I don't know how that went down. I don't know if he just took it or. Because
Sylvain comes along. So if I don't mind interrupting, because my one proud thing is my first ever professional gig was I was in Sylvain's band.
Was you?
Yeah.
After the Dolls?
After the Dolls, yeah. So I went to France and Sweden. Yeah, he set up shop in London for a bit and started a band with his missus. It was great.
He was a sweet guy.
He was a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know how he got the guitar, actually.
What? How Malcolm got it?
Yeah. Maybe he thought like he was owed some money because he spent money on them or something.
Yeah. Did Malcolm ever ask for it back?
No, he brought it over for me. There was me, Wally Nightingale,
Yeah.
and Cookie, and Glen. We were like rehearsing where the Thames BBC is, right by Hammersmith Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, early on, like 74, 75, it was abandoned. And Wally's dad had the electrical contract, Lee Electrics, with the place, and they were kind of taking it apart. And they let us rehearse in there, and this beautiful, sound, like where they'd have orchestras, it was like one of them big.
My God, that's not like Denmark Street.
No.
We all imagine.
No, some of the other places we had to rent, yeah. It was unbelievable. We just left the gear set out, and we would just be there farting around.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. and then
But how you got the gear, though, is quite a very cool story, right? So,
just up the street, I got some of it. Hammersmith Odeon, Hammersmith Apollo. Oh, do I have to tell that story?
yeah, what do you do, really, Steve? Because it's like one of the great stories. Like, listen,
Because we've had Woody Woodmansey, we've had Paul, so
And
now
I
we
w-
need the actual
I
man
was-
behind it.
I was in the audience for the second night. I think it is the second night. Yeah, the retirement night.
Yeah, I went the first night, and then they left all the gear up for the
Right.
second night, and that's when I went on the stage and helped myself. They had some bloke like fourth row, kipping. I'm waiting till he's a kip. I'm up the rafters, like the Phantom of the Odeon, and he falls a kip, and I had a mini van. Wasn't mine. I had a minivan by the side. This is like 2 a.m. now. There's no one around but this one bloke. And but at this point, he's like, and I'm just going on there snipping. I got all these amazing Neumann mics. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know anything. I didn't know they were recording, but all these Neumann mics were for recording.
Of course, because you'd just be using Shores, wouldn't you, for the gig? Yeah,
the big one, worth a fortune.
Of course, they were recording it for the film.
For
Exactly.
Pennebaker.
And the Bowie one was great. It was a little Shaw with his lipstick still on the edge of it.
Oh, man.
I wish I knew what
Gary's
I did with that.
fainted, by the way.
Huh?
I
For
fainted.
our listeners, Gary's fainted.
What else did nothing of Mick's?
No, not.
Was that a respect thing?
No, I didn't care. Kidding me? I got the bass. His head. I think it was a Sun.
Oh, wow.
Bass head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, they were really cool. That's what Entwistle was playing.
yeah, they were fairly new, weren't they? I mean, like I said, I didn't know
Posh
what
American.
was what.
Yeah.
So I nicked that, a bunch of cymbals, all them Neumann mics, and that was about it.
Were you on your own?
Yeah.
My God.
Although I do think someone else was with me, but I can't remember. It wasn't
I was
Cookie.
going to say, if you're lugging bass cymbals and bass heads, you kind of want,
Yeah, not. I can't remember.
This guy's
So how just
So I went and dropped this all off in Shepherd's Bush. I was in this basement, and I would take the stuff down to the coal cellar. I'd put it, and I'd go back for another go in the van. But this time when I went out there, he woke up, and then I just split, and that was it. And it was on the news, the radio in the morning. Funny enough,
But they they had to,
What
they
did
had
he
to
say?
play that next night, didn't they?
I guess they found another amp. Yeah.
and mics and cymbals and
No wonder he split the band.
yeah, exactly. I've got
No more gear.
Oh,
And
so
the-
you
and
might
the
as well tell
cymbals,
us.
and the cymbals,
the
yeah.
cymbal, yeah, which
Yeah.
was
I just see what is beautiful about the story isn't, if it was someone we hadn't heard of, it'd be a funny story.
Yeah.
But the fact that you were taking, the metaphor of you taking from glam rock and from Bowie
Yeah.
and using it for the next generation, for
Yeah.
the Pistols.
Yeah.
I'm in the audience the next night as a
Yeah.
little kid getting
Yeah.
inspired,
Yeah.
Yeah, that still wouldn't sway a jury.
It was Roger.
But, I love Bowie. I love the Spiders from Mars. Love them. But I was a kleptomaniac. I couldn't help it.
So just out of interest, seeing as obviously everything's changed, that's all gone. How do you get in to the house?
Oh, there were so many places back then.
Oh, really?
So many places. I knew that place like the back of my hand because I used to live around the corner. I used to go to so many concerts there. I loved it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Can't do it now like that.
No, of course it'd be
Cameras
CCTV'd up with
everywhere
the yin
and-
yang, yeah.
Because Bowie and because Glam, Roxy was your big inspiration as well. wasn't it?
Roxy, Bowie, you know, Mott the Hoople, Faces, all the usual suspects. Not so much T-Rex. I got a bit into more progressive stuff like Groundhogs.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tony
wow.
Remember them
McPhee,
Cherry Red?
Yeah, Tony
yeah.
McPhee.
I was getting a bit, yeah, man, let's get progressive, man.
There's that
you know-
Well,
Spiral
Cookie said,
album.
didn't, when you were learning guitar, so apparently you used to learn ELO songs? Or was that slander?
Hey,
There's,
really
hey,
are.
listen,
I don't make news, I just report it.
there's too many calls in the ELO. It's got to be, you know, a bit of chords and a bit of Chuck Berry. That was it, you know.
Yeah, because there was a 50s revival. A lot of people were really into 50s.
Yeah, do you remember that one show at Wembley?
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Revival
It's
show. that's
brilliant,
right, yeah.
that is. Malcolm's in that, selling T-shirts for like 10 seconds. He's got a little stand selling all the Let It Rock T-shirts
Yeah.
for that show.
Because everyone, if anyone doesn't know, you know, Sex, the shop with Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood before was called Let It Rock, and it was
Yeah.
totally.
Was
there was a-
Auditionaires for then Rock, was that first?
No, it
no,
was
Auditionaires was after Sex.
It was after Sex, sorry.
It
I'm getting
was-
everything wrong
It's
today.
Auditionaries, yeah.
it was all selling Teddy Boy.
That's right,
gear.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I used to go in there at first. So they had like the settee in there. It looked like a council flat, Teddy Boy's council flat, living room when you walked in there. That's what it looked like. And Malcolm and Vivian were dressed up like Teddy Boy, Teddy Girl.
Because as Chris Spedding, that's how Chris Spedding came across it, wasn't it? Because he used to get all his stuff made by
Yeah.
But that also Sid was at that gig, wasn't he? There is a famous picture of Sid Vicious
At the,
at the Hammersmith Odeon.
I've
With a
seen a
red
picture of him
t-shirt.
outside with
Yeah.
the mullet, and he's wearing
Yeah.
the Bowie thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flares. Yeah.
Who would have taken that?
That was just random.
Yeah.
Press, you know, like a newspaper.
That was just
So,
random.
yeah, but you didn't know him at that point,
No.
anyway, did you?
No, I didn't know him. Didn't know John.
So then suddenly you're all gathering at this at Malcolm's shop.
Yeah. Just
Looking-
Glen worked in there on a Saturday. That's how it ran into Glen, and that's how he got together with Wally. Glen.
Who was Wally? Is he like the Pete Best of the Sex Pistols?
Unfortunately, yeah, he's dead now. Yeah, it's kind of sad with him. He just didn't look the part, you know. He had glasses, and he just looked like the Milky Bar Kid, you know. Yeah. If you know who the Milky Bar
Could
Kid
have
is.
been the Ian Stewart of the Pistols.
And we had a guy who played bass for us, and then I remember a guy who was managing us said, you know, he's going to have to go. I said, why? He goes, he doesn't quite look right. I said, well, who are we going to get? He said, your brother. I said, he doesn't play bass. He said, but he's the best looking bloke we know.
Yeah, you know, he learned how to play though, didn't he?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Not
great.
difficult.
So,
Are you? I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
You guys, are you twins?
no, I'm 2 years older.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a few years before he loses his foot. So you're looking for a singer, right?
Yeah.
Well, but you weren't, were you? I mean, if, you know...
I was singing.
TV, because Mark was very much building the whole thing around you, wasn't
Cutie
it?
Jones and the Sex Pistols.
And his Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And I wasn't. I really didn't. I knew I didn't want to be a singer even when I got thrown into it, but I couldn't play guitar at all. And I just kind of went along with it because I wanted to be in a band. You know, it was one of them things that it was just seemed like I loved music at a very early age, like really early. You know, when you just know, looking back, you know, most. Like I would go over to Battersea Park, the fun fair.
The fun fair, right?
Yeah. I think I talk about this in my book, but it's very significant. I heard Otis Redding sitting at the dock of the bay. It was, you know, them things that go around.
The waltzer.
It's not a big deal. It's, the ones that spin.
Yeah,
and
the waltzer.
Yeah, okay. And it was like a big speaker, and it was at night, and it wasn't that crowded. But I heard that song for the first time, and I stayed there hoping I wanted to hear it again, you know, 2 hours later. I mean, I just heard it for the first time. There's like some music you just gravitate to, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be rock, reggae, blues, whatever. So I knew looking back that I was really into music. I just found out recently that my real dad, Don Jarvis, he moved to Nottingham when I was numpence. I don't even remember him, but one of his daughters reached out to me like last year, and I just met her in Nottingham when we played up there.
Oh, wow.
And she gave me a bunch of photos of the granddad, who had like a corner store, George Jarvis and Son, and he was a band leader, and I got this great picture of him, like a band leader, and I guess that's where I got music
wow.
from. I never could figure out why I was into music so much, so that was great. That was a real good thing.
But who's your guitar hero?
I mean, definitely Mick Ronson is up there.
Yeah.
I used to like Ronnie Wood when he was in the Faces.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Kossoff is a great guitar player.
Yeah. Mick Ralphs, I suppose.
Mick Ralphs, I wouldn't have put him on the list.
Mm-mm.
He did, not
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
No, it's the sound.
No,
It's the
I
sound.
know,
Yeah.
I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Although that opening of Motley Crue was, all the young dudes is still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
chimes of freedom.
Yeah, Bowie wrote that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because when I saw you at the Screen on the Green, I'm sorry. Yes, I know. I've said it.
Was
a
it?
million
No,
times.
that was good. That was nearly half an hour. That was amazing. That's a record, which is amazing considering there's an actual pistol here.
And Steve, I tell you now, changed my life. Right, absolutely, 100% changed my life.
Was that with Glen or Sid?
It was with Glen.
Okay, the first one. Then.
Unfortunately, I didn't see the one with Sid, but my brother did. He went to that
Yeah.
one because he didn't see the one with Glen.
That was chock full of fans at this point. The first one, not so much,
No,
right?
it wasn't. It
Yeah.
was really strange. So it was a lot of people that were sort of maybe the manager's friends or interested parties. Or I went because the assistant manager there went to my school and he said, "We've got to go to this show." So we went and had a look, and oh my God, Buzzcocks, Clash. But when you went on and you had Guitar Hero written on your amp. And that was all part of it. It already felt like, that's right. That's what he is. That's what this guy is. You were kind of selling that as an image. And
Yeah, I was taking the piss, but I was serious as well.
Yeah.
Because there's always been a guitar hero, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So I was just taking the piss really, because I could barely play.
But you wrote that on. Did you?
Yeah. With my 5-year-old looking writing.
Is it still?
I didn't learn
is it still
anything at
there?
school.
Do you still have that amp with it?
No, I don't know where that is.
No.
Everything goes by the wayside when you're a junkie, mate. You don't hold on to nothing.
I mean, the people who were there that were impressive to me, and I could see the connection was the Bromley contingent.
Yeah.
And what they were wearing, and I felt, this is connected with Bowie. This is all actually connected with sort of soul kids in a way.
Yeah.
That's the way some of the things they were wearing, the jelly shoes.
See-through Max and the Jellies, that was a crossover.
That was the best time for me in the whole deal. Them early days when everyone had their own little style, experimenting in clothes. It wasn't just a uniform at that point, We used to go down that club. I don't know if you ever went there. Maybe you're too young. Louise's.
Yeah, no, I know a few people my age who did go, but they were kids. But when they went,
It was great, that place.
Yeah.
There was a few other places, and it was all new and fresh, and you're young. You got your whole life ahead of you, and we were just partying. It was brilliant.
But it was a mixture of sort of working class kids and art school students and people willing to take lots of risks visually.
It was great. It reminded me of the New York kind of Warhol-y kind of deal. We played at a show. What was his name? He was an artist.
Derek Jarman? No, sorry, he's not. What, in London?
There's a little bit of footage, like a little bit of black and white footage of us playing, and Jordan is on stage, and
God's sake, Broken Glass. That guy.
I don't know.
No. Right.
Shit, Zandra Rhodes, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew Logan.
That's
Andrew
it.
Logan.
That's it.
Thank you.
And we played at his party in some weird loft, you know. And that was like, I don't know,
Was that the first time Julian Temple showed up? Did he film?
Maybe.
I think that's who was filming
Maybe,
that.
yeah. But that's what it reminded me of, all that, you know, Andy Warhol scene.
Yeah.
It was underground. No one knew about it. You know, it was like arty-farty people, and it was great.
But by then you've got John. Just talk about what it was like to meet this guy, you know, and if you knew immediately he was the singer.
Absolutely, from the beginning. From the beginning, he was obvious. He was the one. He had a great boat race. He looked killer. He had a great sense of style, and he was sharp. You know, he could see a bullshitter in a second. You know what I mean? He was really quick.
Yeah.
You know when you had the court case about Never Mind the Bollocks, your brilliant title, but that about how Mortimer represents. But it was actually from somewhere in Nottingham, wasn't it? It was just a record shop. That's what the court case about the album title was about.
Oh right, okay.
But no,
So it wasn't a swear word. Bollocks was a swear word.
Yeah, and it was actually because this guy
And
it was
the
a
guy who
vicar.
wrote Rumpole of the Bailey, right?
Yeah, it was Mortimer, John Mortimer. But he said from doing that case, he said John is one of the most intelligent young men I've ever met. So it was quite something coming from him.
Yeah, he was.
Is he really wearing I Don't Like Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
I
hate Pink Floyd.
Yeah. You should wear one of them when you see
Come full
Boy
circle.
Tonight.
Because in many ways he was perfect, like inspiration for Malcolm as well, wasn't he? Because he the way he was wearing, you know, safety pins or whatever he was wearing, cutting.
Had his hair green, you know. No, he was brilliant.
Did you feel that it was going to be part of a movement at that point?
No, I had no idea.
But don't you think that kind of when they say he turns up, he's got his hair green, he's got all that. It's almost like there's some sort of resonance. There's kind of individually this thing is brewing in different places, you know, waiting to come to coalesce around.
Yeah. Well, at the time we just thought this is normal. You know, we never tried to start a band prior to this. Only the one where I was singing in it with Wally. That this was our first go at it. So to me, it seemed like this is what happens because we didn't know any different.
Right.
You know, and we just lucked out.
I'll say one thing I do think is brilliant in Pistol is the scene when Johnny does his audition in the shop, and it's to 18 by Alice Cooper. But that actor does a brilliant job of, you see this guy just becoming Johnny Rotten, just like kind of finding that voice on the spot. You know, it's literally inventing something that just wasn't there before.
He was like that. John was. He was like that. He was taking the piss because we were asking him to sing. And typical John, you don't really tell him to do anything. So he took the piss out of it. You know what I mean? But it still worked. I didn't like him. I'm like, who's this guy? He's not like Rod Stewart. Who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it just, you know, I knew when we did our first show at St. Martin's College. Was that the first one?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
It was it. I knew it was brilliant. I didn't know what it was. I had a couple of mandrakes and a couple of pints, and it was all kicking in. And I remember leaning on his shoulder, and then the plug was pulled. You know.
Pete, no, but you're absolutely right. I mean, because John was such a focus.
Oh.
But what about just the fact that he was singing in that weird Cockney accent? That was quite unusual at that time.
Yeah, most people sound American when they sing.
But didn't anyone go, John? You know,
well, it wasn't even Cockney. It was almost sort of Shakespearean, like he said, you know, that Richard III Olivier thing he had.
Yeah, I don't think he'd practiced that singing. I think that's what just came out when you put a mic in front of him. To be honest with you.
But also, what's amazing, I love, is the whole punk thing of the time. If you look at the Ramones, the Dan, all the other bands, it's that funny thing of how you don't sound like anything like any of them. Yeah. You're not playing fast. No. You know, it's this really nice, sexy pocket.
Right.
They're great riffs. You know, and then there's Johnny doing his thing. It's nothing like, in the same way as you've got the whole grunge thing. There's the whole grunge sound. Nirvana don't sound anything like that.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right, because Steve, your guitar playing is not like everyone else was playing in punk, which was dad, 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 dad. You were
Right.
much more
Yeah.
playing in more of a traditional rock style.
Well,
weren't
that's all I kind of. That's what I grew up on. And the Pocket, it was, it was all them songs.
Yeah.
So we were taking that. We were just doing that, really, but with a bit more angst, and a bit more inadequate, really.
And was Glen turning up with songs, and it was obvious then that Glen was like the songwriter in the band?
Yeah, he come up with the ideas. Glen was very Beatley orientated, so he'd show us some chords.
Yeah, we got that from Pistol.
Yeah. But he was definitely the more musical person at the time. He could play bass and that, you know.
Yeah.
And he knew way more chords than me. But we got in. Most of it was just done in Denmark Street. I lived upstairs, we downstairs. I don't think there was a lot of him and John going places. I think a couple of times, but then it just ended up pretty much working out. Oh, I've got an idea, and we'd all sit around. There's a few of my tunes. I did Bodies, EMI, Holidays in the Sun, Lazy Sod. There's a couple more. They're all my tunes.
So you started those?
Because I thought, I can do this then. It's not that hard. And John would just sit in the corner, scribble, and put words to it, and we just knock it out. And it was literally like that.
And when did the lyrics become political? Because no one was really doing anything political. And if you say, and I mean, it is political. They're socially political.
Yeah.
I mean, anarchy is political, obviously. And
Yeah.
God Save the Queen eventually. But was that something that Malcolm was trying to
I don't think so.
feed John?
I don't think so. There's this stupid thing that goes around these days that we like a boy band, and he was just pulling the strings. It's such nonsense. He had nothing to do with the music, Malcolm. Nothing. Zero. He might have mentioned an idea. I think something to do with submission. He mentioned something, then John...
then Glen, wasn't it Glen who had the joke of like, well, let's make it about a bloke going on a submarine mission?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But we're
John
not...
was politically aware, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never even listened to the bleeding lyrics. I couldn't care less.
That's a proper guitarist.
See? I'll show him.
But you were getting great clothes as well, because that made the other impression on me as a 16-year-old seeing you. Like, what you were wearing was so different.
That was great.
Because it was all double denim before then. Wasn't it?
Yeah, patch jeans. Yeah.
Just that must have made you feel like, give it. I mean, what an energy to have.
Some of the club, I thought, it's a bit fruity for me. Them red pants with the plastic pockets. I'm like, I don't know if I'd do that.
You wore it well.
I actually didn't like the name Sex Pistols. I thought it sounded fruity to me. The name,
See, I loved it. The minute I heard it, I went, wow, that's going to really upset my mum and dad.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought it was so daring. The name was already on the edge.
Don't get me wrong. Malcolm played a big part.
Yeah.
He played a massive part, without a doubt. I don't care what anyone says. And it was what it was. There was no leader. I know John and Malcolm started butting heads because they're kind of similar personality-wise, and it got a bit, by the time we got to America and ended in America, there was definitely, I'd had enough. Mm-hmm. Have I jumped the gun too far?
I don't know. You can say that. We can always go back.
We can always go back. We've got 4 more hours.
4 hours here.
What do you want for dinner, by the way? Just get the order in now.
Yeah. I tell you, it looked like there's decent grub out there.
Good
Is it any good?
Yeah, really nice,
It was a great time, and...
But did you feel that was there a sense that everyone was trying to make of you what they wanted you to be? So Jamie Reid had his version of what you wanted to be, or, Malcolm or Vivian, and...
We didn't listen to anyone telling us what to do. I think Jamie, again, was very important with the with the artwork. I mean, it was just one of them things where all the bits,
yeah.
it just fell into place. It was bizarre.
It's completely unique.
And you didn't know it at the time. It all seemed perfectly normal, you know?
And what about the violence that ended up sort of like being seen as going around it? I mean,
With the Teddy Boys.
Well, famously at the Nashville, you know, and there's the fight, it'd be like your second or third gig, and there's.
Oh, I think that was
massive
just
fight.
Malcolm or Vivian.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was
I
gonna
think
ask.
Vivian basically started that. Didn't
Yeah.
she just slap someone?
It wasn't even a fight, honestly. It was handbags, you know. It was nothing. But it was a good shot on the Melody Maker.
Because I think that was, as a kid, I remember that, you know, that idea that they're not just a band who are somehow trying to appeal to the crowd that I know from going to see, you know, hundreds of pub rock gigs that I've been going to see. This is a band with its own crowd. How do you get into that crowd? How do you become part of that? And I think that was the drive I had as a kid. I wanted to be I wanted to be one of your gang.
Yeah. It was very like 50s, you know. It was that kind of same vibe. It was a thing. It was a movement. And there was always chaos. Jerry Lee Lewis all jumping on the stage, smashing the place up. That's what rock and roll is. That's what real rock and roll is, you know. It's abandon, you're young. It's youth, you know, and it was perfect, you know. That's the way I see it.
Also, but your attitude towards it, I mean, because it must have got quite worried. The great thing when you were banned everywhere, there's a fantastic bit of you on some news footage where you're at some gig, and it was coming up to Christmas, wasn't it?
Oh, there's singing the carols,
singing carols outside,
freezing their nuts off.
Well, you say you can't play. You said, well, that's all right. They're freezing their nuts off out there. We're lovely and warm in here.
And it was
so
true.
great.
It was so cold up there. It was like a Cathili. That's what it was. And it was all these Christians out there with their Bibles and boycotting. No one gave a hoot about it.
But when you literally had news reporters saying, was there a bigger threat to this country than the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
At the height of
And
the
there was
Cold War.
some mad Tory
And you sort of
who
go, it really isn't.
who wanted to kill them, you know.
Yeah, no, but that was great. You couldn't buy that publicity, you know.
But
And that was generated by Malcolm, you know.
But you say that, but I know you also think that going on Grundy and the way
that
Grundy
definitely,
happened was like the moment when the band.
Oh, for sure. It was night and day before that and after. It was like before and then after.
Yeah.
It all changed from the Grundy thing.
And was there ever a sense that afterwards you regretted that?
Nah.
That was saved so much time.
Yeah.
It's just job done.
That was
But when you say
that
night
was
and
my
day-
swan song. You kidding me?
Well, it was all you, wasn't it? I mean, it's your, it's your line.
That was me and
It's
Blue
you that
Nun.
everyone quotes.
That was me and Blue Nun, mate.
But Steve, when you say you it's night and day between one side and the other side of the Grundy, but you don't regret it, do you mean that did you feel that the band was now going to go into chaos after that? And it was
the music went out the window then. At that point, it was all about image and getting a picture of you throwing up somewhere, and it's all the daily papers then. Before that, it was music papers. After the Grundy, it was all about, you know, all that crap. And then we went to the States, and it was destined to fail.
But yeah, because the States was so that, well, because Cookie said he didn't mind, but the fact that Malcolm clearly planned it to not be, you know, to be trouble, to go to the wrong places first.
Not going to the usual rock places,
yeah.
San Francisco, LA, New York. You know, we didn't do any of that. Well, San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I suppose in a way, getting rid of Glen was already putting it on to a different path, wasn't it?
For sure. And you can't deny how Sid looked great.
Yeah,
He looks
Just like
amazing.
your brother. You know, it's the same thing. You couldn't deny whether he played or not is irrelevant.
Well, you say is it, but how was that for you? You know, because you love playing, you love your band.
It was
How
horrible.
playing
It was
live?
horrible.
Right, exactly.
Horrible. It couldn't last. And
But that must have been slightly, for no matter how great someone looks, that must be slightly upsetting.
But
wasn't
at this
it?
point-
to lose the music.
yeah, but you know.
But you couldn't say at that point. You couldn't say because John obviously had taken that camp as well, hadn't he? there was a sort of split in the
Well,
band.
Sid was John's mate.
Yeah.
He had his mate, and I think John always was envious that I had Cookie. We were mates.
Yeah.
You know, I think that played a part. Yeah.
Because you and Cookie go all the way back to like kids playing records.
10
in the
years old,
bedroom.
we used to walk past each other.
Yeah. And as it fell apart in America, were you happy to see the end of it in the end, or was it?
Yeah, I was done. I quit.
So you quit before John in a way. It was like
Absolutely.
before Winterland.
I said, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore.
Not Winterland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
Winterland.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
Yeah. He knows all the lines.
No, the one I really love is your red double-breasted jacket.
That was Sid, you know, originally.
I love that jacket.
I swapped it for that leather jacket that he wears. If you look at it, it says Steve on there. It's one of them old Marlon Brando leather jackets.
Yeah.
Great leather jacket.
Yeah. Lewis.
I'm like an idiot. No, it wasn't a Lewis. It was one of the American ones.
Oh, right.
I forget the company, but like an idiot, I traded my leather for that red bleeding thing that cost £5.
Who was it from? Who was it by, that jacket, Savage?
The red
Yeah.
one? I don't know.
Oh.
Was there, Steve? Was there a moment when you must have been absolutely gutted, thinking, because what I want is to make a second album and a third album, and this is my band? Or did it at the time that you're so young, you think, well, I'll get another band?
No, I thought, come on, Malcolm, what are we going to do? And there was already plans of the Rock and Roll Swindle.
Right.
You know, so as much as I want to think that Malcolm wasn't looking after us, I didn't care. He was my guy to go to. I would follow him rather than John. Right. That was it. God knows why, but I did, and that's why we went on to do
down to Brazil,
Brazil, which was great. It was brilliant. I had a great 6 weeks down there.
With Ronnie Biggs.
Yeah, which was great. Another great move.
Yeah.
You know, no one is innocent.
Yeah, and you started, and then you sang on the B side of that as well. No, what did you know? No, that was My Way on the B side of that one, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was a double A side, wasn't it?
But you took over the singing?
No, Ronnie Biggs sang that.
We sang that one, but
Yeah.
eventually you took over.
Well, I did Lonely Boy, a couple of other things.
Silly Thing.
I couldn't sing. Well, Silly Thing, yeah. Cookie sings the one that's on the album, but we did a single and I sang that one. But that was fun, and then it all kind of just like, then I become really messed up on dope, and then it just all went out the window.
When's the Thin Lizzy stuff happening? That's
Yeah, somewhere around there, I don't know.
because actually years ago I was working with Gary Moore,
Yeah.
and he had a load of demos of stuff that he'd done with you and Cookie. I don't know if Phil Lynott was there. I think it might have been just you, but it never came out or anything. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I tell you the first time I met you, Steve, and I don't know whether we actually spoke, but I was in Good Earth, Tony Visconti's studio,
Oh, yeah.
and I think I'd been invited in by Midjour. It was apparently nearly a singer of Sex Pistols. Someone.
Well, when he was in that band, Silk.
Slick.
Slick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And I remember I was invited by Midge, and they were making Fade to Grey or one of those. It was a Visage
Yeah.
track. And
Oh, Steve Strange.
I went to the loo, and you and Phil Lynott popped out of a cubicle. Yeah. I mean, and for me as a kid, it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, I wonder what we were doing in there. I don't know why people even bother doing that anymore, going to the toilets. I think people just do it anywhere now, don't they?
But really, the point is, you're already hanging out with Phil Lynott. I mean, honestly, now, for me, you look back on what Phil achieved, and what a master, what an amazing
Great songwriter. They were a great band. I got up with them a few times
Yeah.
at Hammersmith Odeon. I got up. Well, we had the single, Greedy Bastards.
Greedy Bastards.
Jingle
And
Jangle.
yeah.
Christmas record.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's one of the funniest Top of the Pops appearances. It's just like we are having it way on our toes here.
Yeah.
How was he like to work with?
Phil was a lot of fun. We had a laugh, but then he got all caught up in the nasty as well, you know. Unfortunately.
You mean heroin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, talking about guitars, another New York Dolls guitar. It was a White Falcon, right?
Mm-hmm.
and you can see Sylvain playing that one too. So that went from Sylvain to Joe Strummer, from Joe Strummer to me, and then to Phil. I think it's in his museum in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
In Ireland now,
Wow,
yeah.
nice one.
Yeah.
Just while we're talking about guitars, your guitar sound on Nevermind, it's still, I think, it's
But it's
just amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
And it's not,
yeah.
I mean, it's your playing, obviously, but everything about that, it's the perfect grit in that, isn't it?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's just loads of tracks, isn't it?
Is it?
Not as many as
Although-
people think. There's bits and bobs. Doubled pretty much most of them, like just
Right.
one on each side.
But also, yeah.
Little bits here and there.
Yeah, but
Maybe a power chord on
yeah,
a chorus or whatever, but nothing crazy. People think like there's 20 tracks on it. It's not.
Because the album is credited to two different producers, isn't it? In a weird
There's
kind
Bill
of
Price and Chris Thomas.
Yeah,
They're an engineering
It says
production
or,
team, aren't they?
doesn't it say something like Chris Thomas or Bill Price on the?
No, it's pretty much Chris was the producer and Bill was the engineer.
What was that like? Did Chris just get
Great.
it? Or yeah.
He was great, man. He's so cool. I had dinner with him a few weeks ago. He was at Bushel.
Oh damn! I should have seen him.
Yeah.
Great, Chris.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's great.
But I also think a part of it is the fact that because you did the bass, right?
Yeah.
Or most of it, and the fact that it's like rather than having someone just double, copy the guitar, it's being copied by the bloke who played the guitar. So you're going to get a tightness there.
Yeah.
That you're just never going to get. Anywhere
Yeah.
else.
You got to do any more solo records, Steve?
I don't know.
Did you like the two you did?
Not really. I like the. I mean, they're okay.
So
think they sound
go
good.
and check them out, everyone.
No, seriously, they sound good. Is it Mercy and
Mercy was the first one. I just gotten sober about a year, so I just urged to write some stuff. I was in LA. I moved to LA. I'm loving the LA lifestyle, the sun, all the rest of it. And then the second album, it was that time when all the Motley Crues and all the Sunset Boulevard, the Whiskey a Go-Go. So I was kind of getting in that, in there a little bit. Not wearing that horrible clothes. I would just wear jeans and long hair, and I just went along with it, But listening back to it, I hate my voice on it. Sounds strained and trying too hard to be like rock and roll. And that
because you made LA your home as well.
yeah, I've been there for 40 years.
One thing is Bob Dylan. How?
Yeah.
What?
You played on his record.
Yeah,
Well, you got Simo in on one, didn't you?
put
As
a
well?
band together. He called me up. Hey, Steve.
So
However
how
he
did you
talks.
know? How did you get to know him?
I can't remember. But he called me. He said, "Hey, can you put a band together?"
It's amazing.
I'm like, "Okay." Simon happened to be in town right there, and then we used to ride motorbikes about. And then it was Pat Benatar's drummer, ginger-headed guy.
Oh, I can't think who that is.
Anyway, him, Gary Myrick, he was a session guy, guitarist. Was that it? I think that was something like that. Anyway, I'd never recorded like this before. When we recorded, we kind of went in and knew what you're kind of doing. You put a track down and you build on it. So he comes in with his guitar on piano. We're all kind of sitting around in the studio, and he gets his guitar out, all tons of papers, and he starts, and we like play along. We're all looking at each other. He goes, "Oh, no, not that one. Let's try another one." And this went on and on and on, and I guess he was just seeing if something was going to click,
Right.
And the one I'd never done it like, so I didn't know what we were doing, And then it clicked on that one song, which is a cover song, I think, Sally Sue Brown.
I listened to that.
And that was it. And what was really funny, he was really drawn to me, Bob, because he loved motorbikes. And I was riding motorbikes and I had the long hair. Like, I'd see him at a party come running over. I started talking to him, I'm like, not now, Bob, I'm trying to piss. And
I'm talking to Marlon.
and he turned around, and I was hanging out with Mickey Rourke at the time, and he looked in the control room. There was about 40 bikers that he brought down because we were like hanging out. We weren't really bikers. We were just a bunch of posers.
Cycling,
Motorbikes.
Riding motorbikes in LA was such a cool thing because you didn't have to wear a
No
helmet.
helmet.
In those days.
Yeah, it was great. That was such a great time. I really had a great time them few years. And anyway, old Bob looked in there. He's like, oh, "What's happening?" But that was a.
Are you still in touch with it? Or no?
No.
Did you find yourself like a session player? Were you
No,
getting
not
called
at
up
all.
and stuff?
Not at all.
Because
I
you did all
mean,
that great stuff with Iggy as well. That was
that was great.
that was great.
That was good.
What did you do with Iggy?
Well, there was a couple of albums, blah blah blah,
Blah blah. Yeah.
and
These Shades. Well, that sounds
Instinct. I co-wrote about 4 songs on blah blah blah, or 3 songs. I was meant to play on the record. Bowie was producing it in Switzerland,
great. All right.
one of them things. But I couldn't go, and I wouldn't be able to come back to LA because my papers were all messed up. So I couldn't play on it, which I was really bummed.
Were you worried that Bowie might know?
No, I've actually listen, he didn't lose anything, Bowie. His microphone, it probably weren't his, you know. But I did make amends to him too.
Go on. Let's hear.
Not just Woody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a kind of a little subtle amends. You know, he it was on the phone. There must be a recording of it, talking about, you know, sorry if I nicked your microphone or something. He's no big deal, you know, whatever he said. It was something like that. I feel bad for the bass player. What was his name? Trevor Boulder. Yeah, I did feel bad for that. He's dead, isn't he? Yeah.
What happened?
So it was the head.
Oh, for the bass.
3 of them are dead. Isn't that crazy? Woody's the only one.
Yeah. Woody's the only one. We had Woody on.
Isn't it funny, age, when you get old?
Well, it's when those generations go. But I still, I'm sitting with you. You know, you inspired me, and I know. And then the Stones are still out, and they, when we grew up, they, we were the kids they were doing it for, weren't we?
Yeah.
And so while they're still on stage, I'm still the kid. I'm still one of the kids they're doing it for. Surely.
You keep telling us.
Surely. Hang on my feet here. What about the book, Steve? When you wrote that book, because
just one more thing. Sorry, on the theft.
Yeah.
Roxy, didn't you nick some stuff from Roxy?
Maybe.
Haven't made amends there yet.
Get the spotlight. And start smoking cigarettes.
Let me ask you something. Can I get in trouble even though it was like 100 years ago?
You can't.
No?
Who's gonna sue you?
Brian might sulk, Sorry, don't cut that out. Cut that out.
Okay, what did I nick off Ferry? I nicked a strobe tuner and one of his gold records.
Wow.
What was the gold record doing on stage?
It wasn't on stage.
I was in the dressing room.
I didn't. It wasn't just stages I went on. I nicked places from anywhere. It was.
Well,
it's
he'd
a
also
good
been
story.
presented. Sorry.
Wait, here comes another one. It was in the back of Island Records, St. Peter's Square.
St. Peter's Square, yeah.
It was. I remember it was like 4 a.m. I'd had some speed, so I'm wandering around. It was snowing, and there was a white transit van in the back, down this kind of alleyway thing in the back, and there was a studio in there. Anyway, I looked in there, and I saw a couple of things, and I smashed the back window, and opened it up, and then there was a strobe tuner and a gold record.
What was the record?
I think it was his solo.
Smoke Gets in Your Eye.
The one with the white.
The tux.
Yeah.
And
I think that was it. Yeah.
is it These Foolish Things?
These Foolish Things.
These Foolish Things.
What year was that?
That's 73 or 74.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you still got it?
No, are you kidding me? I don't have anything.
That's so funny.
Because you had to sell it for
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be quite interesting, actually. But someone's got it. It'd be quite fun to put that and go, by the way, that thing you got, it's nicked.
Yeah, and it's mine. And it's mine.
But writing
Not sure that's how it works, but
writing the book. I mean, I thought some of the opening chapters were unbelievably shocking. Yeah, no, really shocking. But you did it in a really humorous way as well. But how was it for you approaching that, were you sort of nervous about
No,
admitting
because
to
it
a lot
wasn't
of that?
news to me at this point. I'd done a lot of therapy, and it wasn't like I just had a revelation and wanted to talk about it. So I was comfortable with it at this point. You know what I mean? So I didn't mind. You know, a little part of me thought, well, do you really want the whole world to know about this? But and I didn't do it to. I waited till he was dead, the stepdad, you know, because I didn't want my mum to feel bad about it or whatever. I did send them a letter in the 90s saying this happened to me, and I just got a denial letter come back, which is normal, you know. But I mean, it was one time that I remember, but that can still mess you up when you're somewhere where you think you're safe, you know. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
There's one thing getting nonced by the local geezer outside of a school, but when it's when you're at a place where you're home and you're safe, I remember after that happened, I never wanted to go back there. That's when I become a real tearaway and a klepto, and all I wanted to do was go up the West End and look for excitement. And I started peeping Tommy and stuff like that. It was like crazy. And and there's something there's another book where my mum says the guy interviewed him. I don't know what it is, like a weird pistol book, but it wasn't by the Pistols. John and Judy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
the one you mean. Yeah,
Okay.
I was a teen. No, that's great.
No,
Glenn's
that's
one.
Glenn's.
No, I know the one you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, they talked to my mum and said, well, what happened? She goes, oh, when he was about 10, 11, he really changed. He got all weird and just wouldn't, you know, got in a lot of trouble and all that. She didn't realise what happened at the time. You know what I mean? So
I guess the thing is, Steve, so as Gary was saying, the thing of putting all that stuff out there, but did that work for you? Is it the catharsis that you know, I guess you were hoping for writing the book?
yeah,
Yeah, good.
yeah.
And that people accepted it and read it and
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I got a lot of men reach out to me and saying that happened to me, like loads, who had the same similar experience. I think it does happen quite a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Steve, thanks so much for coming in.